Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. These last words are, as I understand from the program, intended to be words of general advice and closing. And I'm very happy to have been here, very honored. I believe that this was a great beginning. Ibn Ata'Allah says, Al-bidayatu majallatu nihayat. The beginnings are the manifestations of the ends. And when we have a great beginning like this, I think that inshallah it will bear great fruit. But I think what's really important is that just as the RIS in Canada has these days of speeches and of reviving the spirit, and then follows them up with intensive study for a week or more, I think it's very important for us in the future to do that too. We need to not just talk about things, but also to study those things in some detail and to have one-on-one contact so that we can understand completely what our mission is and to go about it properly. And I wanted to read to you some of the words of Socrates in conclusion. Socrates is a person who stands at the very beginning of Western civilization as we would come to know it. And also he's one of the fathers of our tradition as well, because we inherit the Hellenistic tradition, in fact, more thoroughly and more effectively than even the West. But, you know, Socrates was a person who I think the West does not even know. He regarded his work to be the work of God. And in this regard, he is very much like Confucius, who also belonged to that axial age and regarded his work as the work of God. And Socrates, in teaching philosophy, was actually teaching virtue. He was making people think. And he was condemned to death because of the fact that in his teachings he showed the Athenians that the gods they worshipped were just names, that they were insignificant. Socrates was condemned to death because of his attacks upon the gods of Athens. And the assembly of Athens did not want to put him to death because he was a great man. So they told Socrates that if you will stop teaching what you teach, then we will let you live. And Socrates said, "Men of Athens, I honor and love you, but I shall obey God and I shall not obey you. As long as I have life and strength, I will never cease from the practice and teaching of wisdom. I will exhort anyone I meet after this manner of mine, and I will try to convince him of the truth. I will say to him, my friend, why do you, who are a citizen of the great, mighty, and wise city of Athens, why do you care so much about gathering up wealth and honor and reputation, but you care so little about wisdom and truth and the great improvement of your soul, which you never regard or heed at all? Are you not ashamed of this?" So Socrates told his people everywhere he went, know thyself. Know yourself. And he said that if I were to define God, he said, I believe the attribute of God which is most central to his being is that he is free of want. He is free of need. He is al-Ghani. And Socrates himself, in his own discipline of his soul, tried to reduce his needs through asceticism and so forth, because he said that's the closest that I can approach God. But it is very important for us to know ourselves. Socrates says that a life that is not examined is not worth living. And in our tradition, to know God is the greatest thing of all. It is the greatest value of all. It is the greatest knowledge of all, and it opens up our minds and hearts to understand everything. But that knowledge of God also requires of us knowledge of the self. So this is my advice to me and to you, that we follow up with this beautiful beginning, but that also in the future we take it a step further into that of one-on-one teaching so that we really understand what we're talking about and hopefully can also apply it. And in this time, it's very important for us, to hold to good company. This is the most important thing of all. One of the reasons why we love these conferences and one of the reasons why we benefit from them is because we have each other's company. Al-Habib al-Haddad, Allah have mercy upon him, who was, I think, the greatest teacher in my life. He used to say that when the souls of the believers come together like this is their feast. This is the nourishment of the soul. So we nourish each other by looking at each other, by seeing each other, by being with each other. When we part company now and we go back to our communities and go back to our homes, it's very important to hold to good companionship. You follow the deen of your companion. So let us look for good companions, as Ibn Ata'Allah says, seek the companionship of a person who raises your state and whose words point you to the knowledge and to the remembrance of God. So I hope that you have a wonderful year. I hope that next year, inshallah, we can come back together, and I hope that we can have even a greater conference than the one we had this year, and inshallah next year follow it up with ta'aleem, with teaching on an individual level. I'm very honored to have been here. Please pray for me, and may we all pray for each other, and may Allah take this mission that we have of Islam in Southern California and in the United States and enable us to fulfill it to the highest degree possible. Wassalamu alaikum.